All right, guys, so let's walk you through that pretest part so that way you guys can kind of look at how to do better on this thing. So remember, we want to show all our work down here. So there's a lot of fluff and a lot of information here. Points P and Q has a length of M. They're talking about the arc. So remember, all they're talking about is this piece right there. And so when they talk about that, they're just going to say, what is the value of cotangent, which is this standard angle that they talk about right here. So when you look at this, I always try to draw triangles. This one's a bad one. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to draw it upside where it's supposed to be here. And we know that cosine is negative root 3 over 2, so that my hypotenuse is 2, and this is negative root 3. We also know that my sine is equal to negative 1/2, and that means that this is negative 1. Here's my theta. So my cotangent is equal to adjacent over opposite. Adjacent is root 3 over 2. This is my opposite. This is my hypotenuse. Negative root 3 over negative 1, which is equal to root 3. This will get you the full 9 points plus the 10. So we really want to follow using our special rights. Disregard this triangle. It's not worth it. So that's how you do number 1 on the pretest. Okay, number 2. So we've got this piece here. Look at the figure below. It's just telling you that it's in the third quadrant, which means you have a triangle that looks like this. We have a negative root 8, and we have a negative 4. I need to find C. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, so that ends up becoming 8 plus 16 equals C squared. C equals the square root of 24. Now if we go back up to the problem, they want secant. Secant, so this is the square root of 24. Secant would be adjacent. Secant is your inverse of cosine. So this is my reference angle. So this is opposite. This is adjacent. This is hypotenuse. Disregard that 3 right there. And so this is going to become hypotenuse over adjacent, which is equal to the square root of 24 over negative square root of 8. There's a fly in here that's driving me absolutely crazy. And so you end up with this problem here, and from there you can say, oh well, it's a negative, so it's got to be B, or you can simplify it out, which is going to be the square root of 4 times the square root of 6 over the square root of 8 to root 6 negative square root of 8. So again, drawing your triangle, labeling it will get you the full 9 points. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3. This is like assignment 15. We're going to solve this one. We're going to divide both sides by root 2, sorry. 1 over root 2. And then from there, I need to know where sine is positive. Sine's positive. Sine's positive in quadrants 1 and 2. And I know that my side opposite and my hypotenuse, 1 and root 2, that means it's a 45. This is negative 1 and root 2. The only one that has a hypotenuse of root 2 is my 45, so this is 45, and this is 45. So if I work backwards, it's 180 minus 45 degrees equals 135. This one is 0 plus 45, which is 45 degrees. And so I get 45 and 135 is my answer. So there it is. Just work your way through. Disregard these, take the problem, and solve the equation doing the work below the line. So if we're doing this one here, I think it's number 4. It doesn't really matter, but you guys kind of see the idea. Watch out. These are reversed. Pay attention to that. Pay big attention to that, because that means cosine is -1/2 and sine is √3/2. That right there will save you a lot of headache. So we know that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. This is opposite over hypotenuse. So they're both, see, one's positive and one's negative. So I've got a negative. So I'm negative cosine, positive sine. So my triangle looks like that, and I'm in quadrant 2. That means that this is √3 and this is -1. So that means that this is 60 degrees. This is 30. We're at 180 degrees, and we have to go back 60 degrees, which gives us 120. 180 minus 60, because we're going backwards for the reference angle, gives me 120. 120 degrees times pi over 180. What's my reference angle? 60. 60 goes into 120 2 times. 60 goes into 180 3 times. 2 pi over 3. Little shortcut there. When you're converting to radians, use your reference angle to simplify it. Okay? That's how I get the 2 pi over 3. So there's that one. All right. Same thing, solving equations here. We'll move our way down a little bit. So here's my equation. √3 plus 2. We're going to subtract 2 from both sides. It's going to give us this. Equals √3. And the 2's will cancel, because we're going to do -2 here, and we added -2 there. Those are going to cancel. Those are going to cancel. We divide by -2. We get √3 over -2. So again, where's cosine negative? Cosine is negative because it's adjacent over hypotenuse. We are over here. This is theta. This is -√3. This is going to be, no, this one's wrong right here. No, that one's right. That's right. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. There we go. -1, 2, and 2. So we want cosine. So we know that across from this, it's my 30 degree. So now we got to go back from 180. 180 minus 30 is 150. And then we've got to go this way. 180 plus 30 is 210. So again, what's my reference angle? 30. If I divide 150 pi over 180, gives me 5 pi over 6. And take my 210 pi over 180, and that's going to give me 30 goes into 210, 7 pi over 6. So it's looking like answer B. If I did it right, we wanted a negative cosine. Negative cosine's over here because it's positive on this side. It gives me 30, 30. Yep, that's right. So there we go on that one. There's those two. Here we go. Again, look at your triangle from up here. Redraw it. Remember, this is adjacent over hypotenuse, and this is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So let's kind of redraw this. So we know that cosine is √3 over 2, and this is -1/2. So this is adjacent hypotenuse, opposite hypotenuse. So when we look at this thing, we got √3, we've got 1, and we've got 2. So now I know that my opposite's here, my adjacent's here, and my hypotenuse is there. So now I look at this thing and say, okay, I'm back up here. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I don't care about that right there. This is not right anyway, so we're just going to cover that up. All right, so I don't care about those because I'm worried about this, this, and that. So I look at this first, and I say, okay, for number 6, I want cotangent, which is adjacent over opposite. That's a negative 1. Negative 1, which is going to give me negative root 3. That one's true. True, I mark A. And then if I go 7, tangent, it's going to be the inverse of this, negative 1 over root 3, or the reciprocal. If I simplify that out, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by root 3. Gives me negative root 3 over the square root of 9, which is negative root 3 over 3. Negative root 3 over 3 is true. So we go with secant. Secant is equal to hypotenuse over adjacent. Hypotenuse is 2. Adjacent is root 3. If I simplify it by multiplying by root 3, I get 2 root 3 over root 3. And so that one is going to be true. This is my cosine. This is my sine. Cosine is equal to root 3 over 2. That's number 9. And that one is a false. Sorry. That one's a false. And since I'm looking at this, this is a 30-degree angle. So number 10 is 360 minus 30, which is 330 degrees. My reference angle is 30. 30 goes into 33 11 times. So this is 11 pi over 6, which does not equal 5 pi over 3. So that one's false also. So that's how you do through 10. We're looking at a 12-minute video right now. All right. So let's draw our triangle. 276, 345. We want the height. So how do you find angle A? You find angle A by going, this is opposite. This is adjacent. And this is hypotenuse. So now we can look at it a couple of different ways. You got to watch out for this one because you have two right answers here. Tangent is equal to the hypotenuse of 2. This is opposite. And that's H. Tangent is equal to hypotenuse of 276. And you can't do anything with that one, right? And then we're looking for angle A. And then we have, so nothing really works to find our angle. So we're going to be working with either this one or this one. And so we've got adjacent over hypotenuse. And so that one's not going to work. So we're going to get the cosine of 276 over 345. That's the one we want to work with. So that's my answer right here. All right. Remember, this one was supposed to be a negative. Doesn't really matter because we're going to take this piece of information, 12 feet, at 6 a.m. So at 12 feet, I'm at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. And at 6 p.m., I'm at 2 feet. Here's 0 feet and 0 time, and this is 12, and this is 2. So we know these things have a maximum, which is right here. we have a minimum, which is right here, and we also have a midline, which is right here. So this one here has a midline at 7, or an amplitude, I should say, of 5, and an amplitude of 5. Because the difference between 12 and 2 is 10, half of that is 5. I'm already up 2, so if I add 5 more, it's 7. So I have a K, sorry, not a K, yeah, a K equal to 2, nope, 7. A K equal to 7. I have an amplitude equal to 5. So I've got an amplitude equal to 5 and a K equal to 7. So I've got, these two are my answers. Now, I know this thing goes from here down. Now I just need to decide right here, starting at midnight. So if I go back to 0, the graph's going to look like that. Because this is midnight right here. This is 0 or midnight, 12 a.m. Okay? Since that's 12 a.m., I'm a little bit off. Sorry, guys. Since that's 12 a.m., then I've got a sine graph right there. All right. Almost done. So here we go. Let's take this, -2 sine theta minus pi over 3 plus 4. So we've got our A amplitude equal to 2. We've got our phase shift equal to pi over 3. I've got my K equal to 4. So my amplitude's 2. That's true. Translate to the left. Nope, this one goes right. So that one's false. Because it's negative in here, but it's positive out here, so it's going to go to the right, not left. So that's wrong. Vertical translation up 4 is true, and we disregard that one because I didn't like the way that was worded. Okay. All right, guys, last one. Here we go. We're going to rewrite this. F of x equals 2 sine theta minus pi over 3 plus 3. My A is equal to 2. My phase shift is equal to positive pi over 3. My K is equal to 3, sorry. Whoops, I'm way off the charts there. There we go. I got you covered. Wish you guys could tell me I'm in the wrong spot. So, we're here. Now I've got my maximum is going to be K plus the absolute value of A, which is 3 plus 2, which is 5. My midline is going to be equal to K, which is going to be equal to 3. My min is going to be K minus the absolute value of A, which is equal to 3 minus 2, which is equal to 1. My phase shift is equal to pi over 3. And my ending point, or my end of period, is going to be my period divided by my B, and my B's got an imaginary 1 right there, plus my phase shift of pi over 3. So I end up with 7 pi over 3. So I'm going to graph this thing. I'm going to go to my, right here, I'm going to write pi over 3. I'm going to write 7 pi over 3. It is a sine graph, so this thing's going to look, start in the midline, maximum, midline, minimum, midline. So now I'm going to go to my maximum, which is 5, my midline, which is 3, and my minimum, which is 1. This starts at the midline. Add my 3 other points, here, 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 and here. Just like I wrote them here. Mid, max, mid, min, mid. Mid, max, mid, min, mid. There we go. Say that real fast. And that'll get you all the points you need for graphing the following. That kind of gets you through how to score maximum points on this test. Good luck to you guys, and we'll see you in the morning.